Okay, we're gonna talk about solving equation with variable on both sides. I really want you to copy, be sure you listen to my voice and copy only the balance steps. So be sure you copy all the balance steps in your notebook. You don't have to copy the undo because you know how to do the undo already. So here we go. We used to solve the equation. Here is the equation. You used to make a table. This is the sequence. You start with x, you add 5, the answer is 7, and you go backward. So it's pretty much what you do undo. We use it for the balance. So I really want you to copy the balance because I'm moving on to solving multi-step equation. So here is an example. X plus 5 equals 7. How you used to solve it? You say I start with x, I add 5, the answer is 7, and then you do the undo. So I go from 7, and instead of add 5, you subtract the 5, which is just the inverse property of addition. 7 minus 5 is 2. This is how we used to do it. So I really want you to copy the balance method. It is the same thing we did, but this time I want x. I need to solve for x. I need to isolate the variable. The main idea of equation, I need to get x, the unknown number. What this variable is. What this variable is. What's the number that add to 5, it end up 7. People can say, oh, it's 2. Yes, exactly, it is 2. Because 2 plus 5 is 7. But let us see what is the math steps for that. What is the pattern for that? So I have a constant, which is 5. I want to eliminate this 5, so I can get x by itself. Again, number with no variable is constant. So this 5 is constant. So how I undo how can you eliminate the constant? I'm just using the inverse property. So here is my equation, x plus 5 equals 7. To isolate x, I need to get rid of this 5. So I'm going to add the inverse property of addition, so which is subtract 5 from both sides. Why subtract 5? Because x minus 5 is 0. 5 minus 5 is 0. So I can get x by itself. Again, this is exactly what you used to do in the undo. Look at that. This is exactly what you do. You subtract 5. You know? But now we want to focus on the balance method. So again, 5 minus 5 is 0. So in this side, I just have x. I isolate x now. And then 7 minus 5 is 2. And that's it, the answer. Be sure you copy the balance method with all the steps. Now, what happens if it's subtraction? Again, same story. Start with x, subtract 2, the answer is 6. Go backward. I start with 6, this time you add 2. Same thing here. So we're going to use this for the, again, I have a constant, which is negative 2. I want to get x by itself. So how I eliminate, minus means a negative number. So how I eliminate negative 2? I'm going to add 2. So remember, you add to the right and you add to the left, because this is a kind of equation is kind of like a scale, a balance. You have to balance it. If you add here, you have to add here. If you multiply here, you have to multiply here. So you have to focus on each side. So again, negative 2 and positive 2, a number and its opposite, it gives you 0. So I have x, and 6 plus 2 is 8, which is true. 8 minus 2 is 6. I'm right. So as you can see here, you know, I was able to eliminate the constant, which is negative 2, by adding 2 to both sides and get the, isolate the variable and get the value for x. Okay, now, let's see what happens if it's multiplication. Negative 2 times x. You know what's happening now here. Start with x, multiply by negative 2, and then you undo multiplication by division, which is the inverse property. So now, some people was really confused. They doesn't know this is a multiplication. Look, this is a negative 2. Nothing between the negative 2 and the x means it's multiplication. If it's addition, it has to have plus, but there is no plus. So this is actually multiplication. So the inverse property of multiplication, you divide. So here we go, which you multiply by the reciprocal, which is just divide. So negative 2x equals 6, divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. So negative 2 divided by negative 2, it gives you 1x, which is what I want. X means 1x. And then 6 divided by negative 2, it gives you negative 3. And that's it. I was able to isolate the variable and get the value for x. Let's try that. Negative 2 times negative 3. Yep, it's a positive 6, so I'm right. Same thing with division. So when with the undo story, instead of when you divide, fraction bar mean division. So undo division by multiplication. This is exactly what I'm going to do here. So again, this time, I don't have a constant. It's a coefficient. It's a number with the x. You know, so it is a coefficient. So how I eliminate the coefficient? Here is division, undoing it by multiplication. So I'm gonna multiply this by 4 and multiply this by 4. Some student does not see that 4, this is 4 and then 4, they eliminate each other. So I want to show you what's happening here. So this is a 4 whole number, 4 over 1. And when you multiply fraction, you multiply across. So 4 times 1x give you 4x. 4 times 1 is 4. And then 6 times 4 is 24. Now what? 4 divided by 4 is 1. So now I get 1x. I mean, you don't have to do all this work all the time, but I just want to be sure I show you why when you multiply by 4, it eliminates this number in the denominator, and we end up with x. So x equals 6 times 4, which is 24. Again, your goal is to get x by itself. You need to isolate the variable. Okay? So again, be sure you copy the balance method. Now what about two steps? Same story. Look, I start with x. I divide by 4. And then I add 2. I end up with 8. Remember this? So when you go backward, what you did first, instead of add 2, you subtract 2. And then instead of divide by 4, you multiply by 4. And then you get the answer. Now, what happened here, something is really important to focus on, especially with the balance method. A lot of students really get confused. Oh, I need x to be isolated. So I have 2 is a constant, and I have 4 is a coefficient. A lot of students think that you have to multiply by 4 first. That's not true. Look what happened with the undo method. What you did first. You subtract the 2 first. Means what? Means you eliminate the constant first. You eliminate the constant first, and then the coefficient. Be careful, don't get confused with that. So what I should do then? So first I eliminate the constant, which is 2, positive 2. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So 2 minus 2 is 0. So I have x divided by 4 equal 8 minus 2, which is 6. Again, now I'm going to eliminate the coefficient, which is 4. So I am going to multiply by 4, both sides. So this 4 and this 4 will give you 1x. So I have 1x. 6 times 4 is 24. And that's it. Take a minute, pause it, think about it. If it doesn't make sense, call me. So when we have two-step equation, that means I have two numbers I need to eliminate to isolate the variable. A coefficient and a constant. Which first? You must eliminate the constant first, and then the coefficient, because this is actually what you did when we did the undo method. And then now you get the answer 24. Let us check. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. Equal on both sides. So here is an equation. I have negative 2x on the right side, and I have negative 7x on the right side. So I have x on the right and x to the left. So what should I do in this scenario? So again, I'm going to focus on the balance method, because if you want to use the undo, you're going to say start with x. Which x? You don't know. You know? So this is why I said today we're going to focus on the balance, because what I'm going to use for solving multi-step equation. Because undo is limited. If you have variable on the other side, it will be not going to work. So this is why I want you to focus on the balance method today. So again, what do you do then? We know that if we have two-step equation, I eliminate constant first and then coefficient. So in this scenario, I have to move the variable to one side first. So you must copy this table exactly, and if you have any question, talk to me. So I write the steps. Step 1, move variable to one side. So I have two variables here. I have the variable with negative 2x here, which is x here to the right. I have x here. So which term I move? Do I move the negative 2x, or do I move the negative 7x? Usually people move the smallest number by adding 7x. But any way can work. So I decide to use this way. Okay? So I'm going to add 2x. Why add 2x? Because I have negative 2x. So negative 2x plus 2x will eliminate each other. So if you add 2x to the right, you have to add 2x to the left. So negative 7x plus 2x. Negative 7 plus 2 is negative 5. So negative 5x plus 3 equal to. Negative 2x and positive 2x, they will eliminate each other, and they left with the 23. The term 23. So now it became two-step equation. I mean, is the one we just solved from a minute ago. So what should I do then? Eliminate constant first. So let's see how we do that. Sorry. So eliminate constant first. So what is my constant? The 3 or the -5? Because I need to isolate x. I need to get x by itself. So it is the 3. So how you eliminate the 3, positive 3, you subtract the 3. So here we go. 3 minus 3 is 0. If you subtract it from the left, you have to subtract it from the right. So 23 minus 3 is 20. So now what I end up, -5x equal 20. Again, I'm isolating x by itself. So I want to eliminate the coefficient, which is -5, because it's -5 times x. The number multiplied by the variable is the coefficient. So this is multiplication. The inverse property is I divide by -5. So divide by -5, divide by -5. So -5 divided by -5, it gives you 1x. 20 divided by -5, it gives you -4. And that's it. Let's